Welcome to the GSD with Jenny podcast, where we talk about how to overcome all the stuff that gets in the way of getting shit done. Imposter syndrome, fear, money, relationships, networking, building businesses. We're going to talk to experts, or as I say, mavens, that provide practical and tactical advice on how to GSD. I'm your host, Jenny Buchholz, founder and CEO of Haven Creative. Now, I started my business with $300 in a laptop and grew it to a team of Haven mavens serving clients around the world and generating over 7 figures in revenue. We were named one of the fastest growing companies in Charlotte and 2024 Crowns of Enterprise Woman-Owned Business of the Year, and I'm incredibly proud of the success we've had and to be among the 1% of woman-owned advertising agencies in the country. But I still need help too. So I started this podcast with the intent to dive deeper into the things that hold us back from achieving our goals. So thank you for joining me on this journey to GSD. Let's get started. Today we have Theresa Contreras, a visionary designer, builder, and trailblazer in the automotive industry. She's the creative force behind Baja Forge, where she designs and produces premium off-road products. And she's the co-founder of Real Deal Revolution, a nonprofit dedicated to inspiring and empowering women to get hands-on in the trades. Theresa's career spans custom automotive design, high-profile SEMA builds, and collaborations that celebrate skill, artistry, and innovation. Whether she's behind the drawing board, in the shop, or mentoring the next generation, Theresa is driven by a passion for breaking barriers and showing what's possible when design, grit, and purpose all come together. Let's get started. Theresa, thank you for joining us today.
Jenny, I'm so happy to be here. Very excited about this podcast. So ready to jump right in.
Well, then let's get to it. So you've built an incredible career, and I've called you a trailblazer. Hope that's okay. I think you are. But I know that being a trailblazer, going against the grain, means there's going to be a lot of bumps along the way. So I want to hear your origin story and then tell us a story about how maybe things didn't go the way you thought and how you broke through that.
Oh, wow. The origin story. I mean, it goes back to, when I was a little kid, because I was really, in the garage, helping my parents, work on cars, side by side with them. So like my parents' work ethic, I think, is definitely like, that reflects upon me too, is like I was always there with them, and they were always like, come on over and help. It's not about just them doing it or whatever. It was always like, lend a hand. How can we all do this together kind of, attitude and stuff. And so I think that's really stuck with me over the years and stuff. But then, so I definitely have that, my origin story begins with like, I off-roaded with my family. I had, a little ATC when I was, 2-3 years old. I started young of doing all that because, my parents included me in doing all those types of things, and my sister too, as well. And so we both, we both were like just in it. My mom was next to my dad working in the garage with him. It wasn't like this is just a guy thing. And so we just always kind of saw that and were around that. And so that's kind of how I grew up, and then fast forward to high school, I wanted to be an architect then. And then I didn't have good enough grades, but then I transitioned into graphic design. And so, it's like those roadblocks that sometimes are like the better way to like move us in the right path to where we're supposed to be going. Right. And so graphic design, what I loved about it is it really helped me understand what they do is you basically take almost every art class there is. So you're taking digital, art, you're taking printmaking, you're taking, charcoal drawing, you're doing all these different mediums. And what I loved about that is it taught me that like, kind of don't be afraid to try anything, to really go get in there and like, you're just learning something new. Like you're still bringing your creativity to it, but you're learning something, like all you have to do is learn, well, there's different materials. Okay. So I just have to understand them, and like what the next step is for that. And then how to use them. And then you allow that to express your creativity, so I really loved how, graphic design pushed me into that of being able to expand myself into like, knowing like, oh, wow, I can do any of these mediums. That means I can do more, you know? And one of the other great things that I loved about going to school for art was like you critiqued. The first thing you did as soon as you got into class, you put your stuff on the wall and you had people critique you, not in a negative way, but in a positive way to like be like, hey, is this the right goal? Did you know what you were working for? Did this, align with what the customer project was? So it really helped you put into perspective and think about, right? I mean, you're nodding. It's like all those little things like that, because so many of us are not put in that position to like we don't want to hear feedback, right? We want to think we're the best in the world at what we're doing, right? And so really when that happens, it's like it was one of the best things. So those are like really the two things I took from art, is that going to school for graphic design, which I always tell people, so technically I did not graduate. I am 6 units short. So everyone wants to say like I have a degree. Right? I know. Yeah. You talk about like these bumps and stuff, right? Like I won't claim. I'll be like, you can say I went to school and have an education, but I technically do not have I walked and everything because you're allowed to with 6 units short, but I don't have a degree. So, like there it is, right? It's so funny, but now, well, that's the origin story, I guess, and then I guess from there, my parents had the family business. The family business was an auto body shop. Okay. And so that's what I started as a young kid working with my family in there. And then, got out of it a little bit, actually went in, when I was at school doing graphic design, I actually became a machinist. And that, that's another long story, but going back to the family business, I basically, when I was at the end of my college career, I got pregnant. And so then I went back into the family business because I couldn't work at the machine shop any longer. And so then I became a secretary, and, my son was there with us. And one day, my son's a little bit older. Maybe this is like, I think it was he's a year and a half or so now. So I was a secretary most of the time of that transition. And we were waiting for someone to come out and pinstripe a car, and we have an auto body shop. So collision repair, insurance, things like that. Well, in that time, we waited a week and a half for this guy to show up. And I was like, you guys, I'm just going to go out and do it. And everyone's like, what do you mean you're going to do it? Like, you've never done that before. I was like, I've watched him a million times. I'm just going to get his materials. He wipes it off. If he messes up, I can do that, So I literally went outside, that night when everyone left. I went out there and 20 times, it was pinstriping a fender on an S10. It wasn't anything crazy, but did I do it straight the first time? No. Like 20 times later, did it. The next morning, everyone came in and was like, oh, you did it. And I was like, well, of course I did. I told you I was going to. Like, I always know, like, if I'm going to do something and I say I'm going to do it, it's going to happen, But everyone else was kind of like, oh, that was really interesting. And you would actually just like figured it out yourself. And I was like, yeah, I always do that. Like, I'm really good at watching other people and being aware of like what they're doing and how they're doing it and taking those cues from that. So from there, I literally was like, I'm going to teach myself how to paint. And so for the next 2 years, I would lock myself in the paint booth at night after everyone was gone from work, because I would do my day job of, being a secretary and then working in the office, and then taught myself how to paint, and eventually I kept getting better. So that's kind of where it all started.
Wow. We talk about grit and resilience and passion. And so what would be the traits you think that you have that make you that get shit done type of person?
I definitely have all those things. I think now the grit part, you definitely have to not be afraid and understand that there's the hard things that need to be done. This is like something that riding my motorcycle back this morning to make sure I was here for the podcast and stuff. I was thinking about this in my head, and, a lot of people, like, I'm listening to podcasts and people say, well, it's easy. You just do this, but the thing is in order for something to be easy, there was a lot of hard work that went into it
Mm-hmm.
in order for it
Mm-hmm.
to get easy. Like that people, and then now they're saying it's easy, but what are the years of therapy to get past something to be able to say that? What are the years of working hard, of making sure they understood how to perfect something? Like there's the hard stuff, and that's the grit you have to really put into something to make it quote easy, right? And I think and that's where the resilience I think comes into that of like you have to just be there for yourself, like you have to keep going. You have to know that like you have to kind of know in your heart that you're capable of anything. Like you're gonna figure it out. Like we figure out everything we want to, that we put our mind to do. Um, and that's anyone.
Yeah.
Like literally, and we're all different. We're all wired very different, but any of us, if we say this is something we're gonna do, we're gonna figure it out.
But
Yeah.
I was gonna comment on the word easy. It's like a four-letter word to me. I sort of hate that word because nothing's easy. Like you said, you have to fail and find out and figure it out and work your ass off. And most people are 20-year overnight successes, right? Like they
Yes.
work really hard to get to where they are. And people say entrepreneurship, that looks easy. I'll have my own flexible schedule. And then you get into it. You're
Yes.
like, this shit's hard. Nothing's easy. Nothing worth having is easy in my experience.
I totally, absolutely agree. That is all of it. Even someone looks at like, I'm going to say like Britney Spears or something, because everyone knows who that, like, oh my gosh, she's
Yeah.
so young. She started when she was like 3. And that's why she became a success, at 14 or something. She already had the time put in. It's like you said, the overnight success, right? It doesn't happen. People are behind the scenes putting the work in to make it easy.
Absolutely. So let's go back to what you said. You have to be there for yourself. When I started
Mhm.
out, I definitely didn't have the confidence, and it took
Yeah.
people around me to help me see that in myself. Did you lean on mentors or community to help you build that confidence, or
I love that. 100%. Other people will help you help pull yourself out of that to know that you're capable of being at that level. So yes, you know, I had I had mentors when I was, at school, taking graphic design that would same thing, push me and be like, you are capable of this, of getting here and doing these things. And so that mentality did definitely help. When I started doing SEMA vehicles and stuff, I had people like there was Steve Warner. He was one of the first people, and Marcel Venable. These people are like the first people that saw me like I was, custom painting, and they believed in me and like, hey, like, will you do this for us? And I was like, you've seen, I've just been doing this like here in the, like they're like, yeah, and you're good. And I know you can do this. So it definitely took people like that to really get me to the next level. And then Mike Spagnola, I mean, he is the CEO of SEMA now and stuff. And he was a mentor of myself and my sister. And
awesome.
so, yeah, so street scene equipment, we started building vehicles with Mike, and I built custom vehicles with him for well over 10 years, and so definitely his faith and like and what I think everyone gets to see that now, which is amazing, is like he's this like super connector of like wanting to help people and encourage like a supportive community like that. And he was definitely that for me too. So I did need that community and that support to help me for them to believe in me that I was capable of those things. So absolutely.
I want to talk a little bit about how you broke into SEMA and these project builds. Was there ever a time, it sounds like you were a little nervous when you started, but that like things didn't go as planned during those project builds? Any
What time did
memorable
it not?
moments that you want to
Sorry, that was like I was like, what? I was like, they all don't go as planned.
Nice. Well, let's
Yeah.
hear a memorable one.
Oh gosh. I literally I mean I've literally built hundreds of SEMA vehicles over the year. I don't think any of them go. You have to remember is that, okay, first off, they're on a time frame. So what it is specifically they're being built typically they come from the manufacturer about August. July to August is when a brand new, new vehicle is coming out. And so for the SEMA show, the idea is that these new vehicles, then you're producing product for them that will then debut in November. And then those new products and that vehicle will then debut at the new the conventions and stuff that they have, like the LA Auto Show and the New York Auto Show and Detroit and stuff. So the idea was that you have these customized vehicles that can go to those shows, right? And so that's the cycle. So you literally have August to November, from SEMA. That's it. That's the time frame you have. So it's like always crazy. Now, granted, there's older vehicles coming into the picture, but essentially that's the idea of what the SEMA show is that you want these new products developed for new vehicles that are coming out. And that's the idea, right? So, I mean, what could go wrong? Hey, you're getting your vehicle in July. Oh, now it's like August 15th. Oh, now it's like August 30th. Well, maybe it's going to be September. When do I get a car to work on? Like it's things like that. Like you literally, it's coming from the manufacturer. You have to kind of go on their time frame, and then trying to crunch and get those types of things done in that time frame. The good part was that I was literally in Southern California, which to me is the mecca of all things, like the customizing of automotive. Like, and it's Southern California. We can literally go pretty much anywhere. And this is pre-COVID I'm talking, because things were like you could get things instantly that day if you needed them anywhere, So if you had to be like, I need this part and I need to figure it out, you had resources. So that was probably the best part about being in that area. But then the other bad part is this is a brand new car. So if you break something on it, you're kind of screwed, And so then you have to fix it or figure it out because there aren't any products that you can have. Gosh, one in particular. I mean, there's just, I can't even, I mean, we've literally slept on the floor. We sleep on the floor in our garages at the shop and stuff, like curled up in balls and trying to finish things the night before. I mean, oh my gosh, I have so many stories. Trying to think of.
What about one of your most favorite, like, memorable builds? So for Fab Fours, one of my favorites was Chimera. It was amazing. So those crazy project builds.
Okay, so I'll talk about one that it's funny because same thing. I was told not to talk about it, but it doesn't matter now. It's kind of like it's been so long, right? So you get like a first right here, but and a behind the scenes or whatever. So we did a vehicle for Jay Leno, and we worked on it with SEMA as well. And so that vehicle, it was a 1968 Ford Bronco, and it was prior to the Bronco. So everyone expected the actual Bronco, the new body style of the Ford Bronco, to debut at SEMA that year. But it still wasn't ready. They kept pushing it. They kept pushing it, right, and stuff, and it got pushed off. And so their idea was, we're going to put the Ford Bronco, the 1968 Ford Bronco there, but with components and stuff like newer, Ford performance type components that were new. And so, so they put the cover on and all of that. Well, so we finished it. So our shop, so when I was working at our family business, LGE CTS Motorsports, we finished the vehicle up, and it went to the show, and it was on, it's literally the center of the show. The Ford stand at that time was, main stage, and that Bronco was front and center for everyone to see. So, we got it there, the show debuts Tuesday morning, 9 a.m. And so we got it there, I believe it was like Sunday morning. So we had it in the booth and everything. And like Sunday night, we're walking around with some of the guys, and we're like, okay, trying to align the door still. And so they're like shimmying it, doing it, moving it and just like pulling it up and stuff. So we get that aligned. And that's like scaring me because I'm like, oh my God, is it gonna like crack something else or do something, And but then in the morning or I'm sorry, that night, as we're walking around looking at things, I noticed a crack on the grill. And it's like right next to the headlight. And it's like 3 inches big. And I like literally the show, it's on a Sunday night. It's not very loud. I'm like, oh, like it's all quiet. And you just hear that. And I was just like, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, what the heck just happened? Like, I can't even believe that. Like, but all it is like there's shrink down and the back, had enough escape for the air to go through. Like, we didn't cover it up properly. So it just, things shrink and it's hot, it goes to cold. And so it cracked. And so I was like, oh my gosh, what we had is it was a 3D printed grill that we had to like, Bondo in and resin in and do all these things. And so all these different materials just, it happens. So they were like, it needs to be fixed. I was like,
Yeah.
okay. So, I mean, I'm always, my thing is I'm pretty resourceful and I can pretty much figure things out like as I'm doing things. That night, so like, Sherry Colleen was part of it. She was like in charge of the Ford booth at the time. She takes me to the store. We go to like an all night. This is Vegas, again, prior COVID and stuff. All night AutoZone or something like that. So we go and get Bondo, we go and get filler. I call all of my reps from PPG and stuff, and they have paint to me. I'm like texting them like at like 5 a.m. in the morning, and they get me all this paint and stuff over, to the booth. They have me cover up, like I basically was like kind of under a little like curtain, but I got up there. I had my airbrush with me. Oh, this is the stuff I do, girl. This is just one thing, right? This is one story. I have my airbrush with me. I have like a time lapse of it too, of me I had to do it on the Ford stand. I couldn't move the car. They didn't want me to move it or do anything. And they didn't really want anyone to like know this was happening, right? So I'm like covered up and stuff. So I'm sanding, I'm filling it. I did it and I painted it. And so I was like, I'll have this done by 3:00 today. All the people, everyone came in and helped. Everyone got materials and made sure I had everything, and it was fixed. Everything was saved, and that's what you do. You just you get shit done. You make it happen. It's not, there is no if, ands, or buts. You just figure out how it's going to happen. And luckily, I surround myself with amazing people that always rise to the occasion, that make things like that happen. So kind of like you were saying, it's like having that supportive community that is like, we're there for you. What can we do? And that definitely happened. And it was one of the biggest press conferences that debuted at SEMA ever. So there was, so many people there at that. So luckily got all fixed.
That is the perfect example of a get shit done moment.
Yeah, totally. Right?
Yeah. Okay. So a pivot for a moment. Let's talk a little bit about Real Deal and how that all started in your relationship with Jesse Combs.
Yes. And so I love that this kind of ties into like what we're doing too, Jenny, and all the other things, because so Jesse Combs and myself met on the first SEMA SBN all female build. So that was, I tell people I met some of my best friends on that, and that's why I'm super excited that, we'll be working on, SEMA's first booth, the SBN's first booth, that they will be incorporating, other organizations that are SBN members. So Haven Creative is part of them, and then Real Deal, I know, and then Autofluencer. So I'm super excited about that. How to plug that in there. So this year, SEMA show, you've got to come watch us and have great content like this and be part of it. And so, Jesse and I, that's how we met. So I was in charge of painting the vehicle. And so that was like I was the team lead for painting it. And so we brought people to our shop. So my sister, Sarah Morrison, she was part of the build too. We were doing it at our shop, LG CTS Motorsports. And Jesse was like, it was close to the Fairplex in Pomona, which was the off-road expo. And she was like on her way to the off-road expo. And she was like, oh, I'm going to hop in and say hi. And I never watched shows like that or anything and stuff. I didn't watch All Girls Garage or Extreme 4x4 and stuff. I was just like, oh, like one of the girls is coming by and stuff. So she like literally walked through, the door of the shop and was like, hey guys, like all her bubbly self, which that's just, she brought this great energy, and so, and I was like, all we could think of is I was just like, oh my gosh, awesome, come help us with this bumper, because we're all like grabbing the bumper right then and trying to do something. And it was funny because she just like paused and she looked over, and my family, we had all of our motorcycles in a row right there. And she looks over and points to my motorcycle and goes, whose bike is that? And I was like, mine, why? Like, it was very like, not, we're completing our highs or whatever. It was like, she stopped and just was like, whose bike is that? I was like, mine, why? And so she was like, do you want to go for a ride? I was like, yeah, sure. And that was it. Then she came over and helped us. But like, that was the beginning of our friendship, is like, she liked the aesthetic of the bike. And so she knew, she was like, oh, that's a cool bike. Like, I want to know who's riding that cool bike, and then we would ride together, and she would be like, oh, I like you. You can keep up with me, because a lot of people, with her, like, she was like, I'm gone. If you're not behind me, then you're not behind me. Like, sorry, so I was always, right there next to her doing things. And we just like became best friends because we just loved doing all the same stuff. We loved, we loved working on things. We were always in the garage, just working on stuff together. We were always, we just out of this, we saw the women come together for this. And then we were like, we continue doing that. And this is like right at the beginning of social media, probably a little earlier than that. I mean, like Facebook is still, but like even like Instagram and stuff, I don't even know if that was around then. I don't know when it started, but anyway, no, it was. We did post some, I think we posted some things. Anyway, very early days, but you don't know, you know what I mean? And you don't see the other women out there. There was a lot of us that when you're growing up in that era, like you don't know there's other people out there. So her and I we had this love of working together, and you mentioned it before, building a supportive community. That was super important to us. Like, we knew we were both in male dominated industries that really were, like, we had good male mentors. That's why we had gotten so far. But even with that, you're still in environments that aren't as accepting. And so with that, you want to be like, how can I be there for others? How can I help encourage others that, like, it's going to be tough, but you got to push forward. Like, you got to do the thing, and not to say like stay in a toxic environment. That's not what we're saying. It's saying that you are capable of like changing people's minds, that you can do these things, And so the thing is they just don't know that yet. And they're not used to it. They're not used to seeing it, right? They're not used to like understanding it, because we're really creating a new pathway and they visually, like, they just haven't seen it before. Their perspective is so different. And that's these stereotypes that we break, right? And all of that. So her and I, from all of that love of like, we hang out together and do this, we know there's other women that want to do this. And so we created Real Deal, and we wanted, to make this nonprofit something that people have always said, like, oh, I've always wanted to do this, but never had the opportunity. So we wanted to provide an opportunity for them. So, we went to our first event, was Born Free. It's a motorcycle show in Southern California, and we're so stoked on this. And this is 2015, so this is 10 years ago. So her and I go. We had a couple other women come with us. My sister was there too, And we wanted to be, women teaching women, right? Thing
Mm-hmm.
is we went there to teach and no women came up to us. They did not want to learn. We had guys and we had kids coming up wanting to learn. So we were like, well, we're not going to turn them away. That's not the goal. The idea is not to be exclusive and say we're better than anyone. It's to be inclusive and be like, you want to learn? We're here to teach you. And so them
Mm-hmm.
learning from us, like women teach differently, the way we go about it, it's just a different process, right? And so we did that and we came back to the drawing board and we're like, okay, we're all women that are going to be instructors that will then teach everyone. And so, it's amazing today because we literally, come to a table now, where we have our workshops and we will have a 6-year-old next to us and like a 6-year-old biker guy and a mom and like everyone, and no one is judging each other. Everyone's helping each other. And we're like, that is what we're getting towards. Like, it's amazing. It gives me chills just like thinking about it because that's the kind of world that we want to see that we all exist in.
Absolutely. And to see it now 10 years later, you must be incredibly proud of the progress.
Definitely. It's amazing to see, and I know Jesse would too. I mean, we're working, she was working with Harley, when she passed and stuff, and Harley Davidson is supporting us. We were just at Sturgis with them, doing things. We have people like Dickies supporting us, Lincoln that also supported her too. So Dickies has really been a new one, and the VF Foundation. So they're the main owner of Dickies. So we've got corporate grants from them as well, that have definitely helped us like excel and get to the next level. And one of the things that they kind of asked us, like having someone like Dickies as a partner, like we thought, monetarily, it's amazing to have someone help sponsor you, but like a brand like that too that has been around and established for so long, and it helped elevate our brand, like our
Sure.
aprons and our look and our style of everything we're doing. We just like look better now. I'm like, oh my gosh, like it was like a whole
Yeah.
nother level. And so that's just been like a huge blessing to have people like that come in and really help, like it's like all the things, right? That really come together and you just don't even realize sometimes that it's happening like that. So, yeah, it's been amazing.
Yeah, I feel like for me, whenever I follow my passion and opportunity happens, is from the energy of just going after what I love and realizing that other people are attracted to that energy and want to be a part of it. And it sounds like that's what you and Jesse had with Real Deal.
Definitely. I love that you use the word energy because I'm exactly that. I'm like, you want to put good energy out because you'll get that back. It's like as
Mhm.
simple as smiling to someone, right? Or giving someone a high
Mhm.
five or something. Like you're transferring that to someone else, and like people say, like pass it on. It's really that simple. And like her and I
Yep.
were both like that. Like we want to create an environment that people come and they get energized, and that is like it is such a good word. Like I one of the things I think I love to share my good energy with other people. Like that's truly like something that I think that I was put here to do, so that I can help inspire others to get them out of a slump, or know they're capable, or whatever that is. Because like you said, like people need that support. So I want to be the cheerleader. I want to be helpful. And that's what, like, Jesse and I always, that's what we wanted with Real Deal, is that we were there for others to like support them in that time, to be like, you got this, let's go, and that's what they need. And so that's what Real Deal was, never about just us. It's about everyone. It was this, okay, we taught you, now you're going to teach someone else, and it just keeps snowballing and rolling from there. So that's really that circle that we kind of built of the community. Like we'll help you and then you're going to help someone else, and it's just going to keep going.
Yeah, my first mentor always had said to me, which now stuck in my mind as a mantra, is energy and enthusiasm is a force multiplier. So it sounds like that's exactly what you're doing. You're creating this flywheel effect. Tell me a quote or a mantra that sticks in your mind.
Ooh, I don't know if I have one specifically. Dang it. I don't know. I mean, I
I put you
guess
on the
it's
spot
this.
there.
I know, right? Right? It's like, I guess it's as simple as like the karma thing. It's like really you put good energy into the world and it will come back to you, and it's you're not I don't expect it back though. Like us giving is there's something about you giving of yourself to others, like you're sharing
Yes.
your knowledge, your skill set, whatever that is, like just sharing it with someone else and they light up knowing that you've helped give someone else that they can transfer to someone else is like that. To me, that's enough. Like, and I don't know if
Mhm.
it's enough for other people, and so I don't know how to put that in a mantra, but all those things.
I I I got you because I have another thought leader that I listen to that says, "Put in 100 and expect 0. Put in 100%, but expect 0 back." And living
Yeah.
your life with that gratitude first and giving first and educating to empower, it really does come back.
Yeah. I love that. That is it right there. And not everyone, it's hard for people to see it or understand it. I mean, again, this is the easy part, right? Where, oh, it's easy to do that. But how long has it taken us to get to that point to understand that that's what we're here to do, like how we're here to show up and how we can show up for others, So I yes. that it's but it's
Yes.
easy in just a couple words, right?
Right. Yeah, easy, easy, a four-letter word. We're kind of coming up on time here, but I'm excited because I feel like it's a good, I don't know, promo for us to talk again at SEMA. So maybe you could do a
Awesome.
plug about what we could expect at the SEMA booth.
I love that. So, as I mentioned before, Real Deal was really like almost born out of, SBN. Jesse and I love to attend Gear Up Girl and all the events and stuff. And then being part of, that first all female build and now being part of the first, booth for SBN that is incorporating, other, women owned, businesses like this to help really elevate SBN and for all of us to help share what we're doing together. So I'm really excited about sharing our workshops. We'll be there doing hands-on 1 hour workshops that anyone is welcome to attend. Again, it's open to everyone. So guys, girls, grandmas. I mean, you're not supposed to be under 16-year-old to get to the show, but kids, whatever, So all the things. So we will be there doing that. I'm excited about your podcast too, Jenny, of doing things like this because same thing. I think people want to hear our stories. They want us to be able to share because they want to know they're not alone. They want to know like they found a tribe, and that's who we all are, is that like we all love this. We all love the automotive space. We love, getting in there and getting shit done. And, it's like all of these things really come together to find other people that are similar to us to have that good energy with, right? And then it
Mhm.
gravitates. I mean, it makes everyone gravitate towards that. And then autofluencer too, of really helping to bring everyone else together to share our stories, to share the creators, influencers, all of the people that are part of this industry, and the behind the scenes, which is, the manufacturers and stuff too, and all of that part of it. So I'm super excited about the booth. I think it's going to be very dynamic, which is all kinds of things happening. So very excited for that. So at SEMA, everyone is welcome. But we want you to be part of SBN too, because it is such a great community through SEMA.
Is a great tie back into what we said earlier. It's so important to have a community to see and to support you and to kind of show you what you might not see in yourself, push you along, see what's possible. We talked about visioning and like being able to see what's out there. And I think it's so important to have that community. So yes, come see us in the booth. Uh, Last question for you. What's your hype song? I mean, everyone has a, I feel you
I
might have
love it.
several. Like a song that gets you fired up before you're about to get shit done. What would your hype song be?
Okay, I probably have a couple. Eminem, Lose Yourself. That one's pretty good. Let's see. Gwen Stefani, Hollerback Girl. But yes, I do have
That's
a
all right.
couple.
We
No, I'm
can
like,
go back to Gwen Stefani because you already said that you're an energy sharer. So let's hear you sing it.
That was good. I was like, wait, what? No, girl.
I'm kidding. I'm
I'm not
totally
a.
messing with you.
You might need a few. I don't know.
I'll just weave it in. I'll weave it into the end of this episode. No, seriously, Theresa, I can't wait to continue the conversation. Come see us in the booth. We're definitely gonna talk more because we have a lot more that we didn't even cover that I have questions that I didn't get to. So we will do more at the SEMA booth or beyond. Come see us. Thank you so much for joining today.
It's awesome. Maybe if you're lucky at the SEMA booth, then maybe I'll sing it.
Oh, there you go.
You'll have to show up.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me. Those are great, fun questions. I loved them all.
Thanks for listening to GSD with Jenny. If you found this episode helpful, share it with a friend. For more ways to GSD, you can also find me on LinkedIn at Jenny Buchholz, where you can sign up for my Maven Mindset newsletter, or follow me on Instagram at Maven Jenny. Until next time, go GSD, Mavens!